Hi, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Derek Pernesiglio Show. I'm Derek Pernesiglio, and today we have two-time NASCAR Xfinity Series champion Randy Lajoie joining us. Actually, a three-time champion because they also have
NASCAR North.
Yeah, NASCAR North Championship. How you been?
Man, there's always somebody with it worse.
Yeah.
But,
right?
you know, it is a different world that we are living in.
It is very much a different world, and that's something that my mother always used to say too. You know, things could always be worse.
Yeah,
Derek.
that's
so,
right.
Yeah, I get it. And
right.
if I had told you the story of what happened to me in the last 2 years, you wouldn't believe it either. But that's for off camera.
That's right.
Yeah, it's been crazy, but things are going great with you.
Just got done with the SRX series, being a pace car driver.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that was totally different than I did last year, because last year I did it because I did all the seats in the cars. And we had to get all the drivers right, and we were a little bit more prepared this year. So I didn't have to work on the cars and keep the drivers happy. They were all good. But so Benson went, whatever he does, super modified racing.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, well, I'm going to race 4 or 5 times this year, right there in that stretch. And me and the wife, we happened to have go to dinner one night, and Don Hawk and his wife were out. Got to talking. Helped them out, hooked them up with somebody to get the uniforms done before the photo shoot. So they called. He says, hey, we need a pace car driver. And the pace car, Benson said it wasn't fun to drive. And I was like, oh,
Is that hot rod, right?
Yeah, well, I'm not sure what it is. It was made for a music video.
Okay.
Scott Borchetta, their Big Machine record label, has an old 32 hot rod looking thing in a logo, with a big crazy hood scoop, you know, like it's blown and this and that. And well, somehow Ray Everham talked him into buying one, and Ray built it. So I probably a couple $100,000 later, you know, got this car that is made for a music video, and it's a fiberglass car and has a regular standard motor in it, and fuel injected was wrong. It would vapor lock if it got hot. And of course, it was only 110 degrees at the racetracks we went to. So it didn't run a lot. But I wouldn't want to go 40 mile an hour in this thing.
It wouldn't turn?
Well, it just wasn't made to go 40 mile an hour. I mean, it had a little old steering wheel in it, and that was flexing. It flexed about 3/4 of an inch. So you try turning this thing. I mean, it had no power steering. It was kind of a 32 frame with a fiberglass body, and of course it was chopped, so you had a 4-inch window to look out, and of course that was at my chin because my head was sticking up in the roof. Oh my goodness, it was hard to see. I didn't hit nothing. The door slung open once. I almost lost a passenger at Stafford running 60. The guy almost fell out. It was a cool experience.
Who was the passenger? Move a little closer to the mic.
It was Willie. Willie is the coach driver. Was a coach driver for 16 years for John Madden. It's still his coach, Sandy Montag, which is one of the owners of SRX, hired Willie, and he bought the bus or something.
Okay.
So he just came, and they moved his family. Wonderful people. They moved from the West Coast to the East Coast, and the daughters are like, it's so green out here. This is so pretty.
Now, is it harder driving it on pavement or dirt?
Well, the problem with the dirt was, the week before, the tires picked up all the rubber. Okay. So now you have slicks.
Okay.
Yeah, okay, go run 40 mile an hour on dirt with slicks. I said, are you guys kidding me? I said, what are you guys? I said, come on, this is not fun. Then they stick a couple guys in there with you, you know, and I was like, okay. I said, you know who you're riding with? And they're like, no. I said, Google Randy Lajoie Daytona crash. And they're like, that's
We're going to talk about that too eventually in this show. But doing the SRX, why haven't you gotten behind the wheel? You know the cars are safe. You know you do the seats for them. And
my head ain't right. You know, and I did a test. Well, we rubbered in Phoenix when they redid that, and I got dizzy. You know,
really?
Just going straight, and stuff was moving, and I was like, oh boy, this ain't good.
So that was after the repaving, right?
Yeah, this is probably 16 or 17.
Okay.
You know, right about that. It might have been a little earlier, right around there. I mean, it was right when they repaved. It was fun until it wasn't. I mean, we went a day and a half, and then I come down the straightaway and I knocked the damn wall down.
So after the second day, you got in a wreck?
Yeah, I slapped the wall at the start finish line.
Oh, really?
I was like, what the hell did I do
Now,
there?
was this after they moved the start-finish line to the backstretch?
I think it was a race before that. I don't think they moved it yet.
Oh, okay.
They just redid it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What did you think of the reconfiguration? I mean, you had raced on the old configuration.
Yeah, we were driving around, me, Knopfsinger, David Green, and Grissom, going around there in a rental car because it was raining. So, okay. Well, I went into turns 1 and 2, the old 1 and 2, and I never turned the wheel. So once I come out, I never turned the wheel, and we cut the corner, and I come out going into 3, and I never turned the wheel. And the guy's like, you think they're going to cut that like that? I said, why not? I was like, what's going to stop them for cutting this corner
through
off?
the infield, right?
Yeah.
Right, because
And
they
they're
do
like,
it now.
They ain't going to do that. Well, you never used to could.
Right.
And they're like, I said, bullshit, they ain't gonna. I was like, of course they're gonna.
You just did it.
Yeah. So we went out in the cars and went to track dried, and I did that, and there was sparks coming up through the shifter because the cars rolled and they weren't as good as sealed off, and it bottomed out, and the tailpipe bottomed out, and Knopfsinger was behind me. He was laughing. I was like, they're gonna do this. They will do this. And sure enough, they did. But then I don't know what happened. So I was like, you know what? I don't need to climb a window. And
Right.
I've told people, if you see me climbing in a window, I'm going to come out the front door with something large TV because I'm going to take something from somebody. I'm not going to drive anything.
Well, you've got your kid driving now, and now you're a grandfather. So
And I drive the golf cart.
And I've heard that has calmed you down tremendously, being a grandfather.
Yeah, well, probably. It's so cool to watch. It's amazing. I don't remember, our 2 boys being as smart as Levi is. Mm-hmm. I mean, and never did either one of my boys grab me by the hand and say night-night and walk me so I could go to bring him to bed.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I was like, okay, he's tired. He wants to go to bed. Not a problem. She schedules them. Mm-hmm. It's cool to see, and I have to. The reason I had to calm down because I don't want to teach them all my bad habits. I've already, I was okay. There's a lot of things I need to do different on this one than I did on Corey and Casey. So okay,
like what?
It's fun. I mean, just.
Well, you can also give them back at the end of the day.
Yes, but I'm not going to get excited. I used to get aggravated, if they don't do something right. Mm-hmm. It's a kid.
Right.
It's a kid. So, okay, I'm when I go to give him a stern voice, he's only heard the stern voice, I think, once in 2.5 years, and it made him cry. And I was like, oh, boy, I don't want to do that. I want to make him laugh more than I make him cry.
Of course. Yeah. Is the plan for him to eventually play with quarter midgets or box stocks or anything
Corey bought him
that?
a little Jeep. Corey bought him a Jeep when he was a year old, a little battery powered, and Corey had a self-control. Yeah. It was cool. It was a neat little thing. I mean, it probably cost him $2,000. And he put him in it at the house one day and drove him around the driveway, and he was smiling and laughing. And something happened. He just flipped out. I don't know if Corey jerked the steering, something. I don't know what happened, but he would get out of the car and walk around the other side of the car because the Jeep was next to us. He'll see a Jeep on the road and shake his head and say, no, and punch it.
Really?
So we brought the thing from the house to the shop, and he would come to the shop and hang out and play and not go nowhere near the Jeep. He'll drive. He'll sit on my lap on the golf cart.
Something happened that
in the
makes
Jeep.
him
He don't like
gun
Jeeps
shy
no more.
of it or something.
So I keep showing him a picture of him in the Jeep smiling. I said, "Who's that?" Me. I was like, "What are you in?" No. I was like, "You're smiling in a Jeep. It's right here. We have a picture of it."
Right.
And he'll look at me. I was like, "Yeah, it's not that bad."
Does he come down to the seat shop during the day and
a couple days a week?
That's cool.
Yeah, she'll come down. She'll go work out, and so I'll take him for an hour and a half. I got usually an hour and 15, hour and a half golf cart ride.
That's cool.
I got the house across the street, and then the house is next to the church that has 25 acres and a pond and ducks.
And that's yours?
No, the church.
Oh,
the
the
church.
church.
And
Okay,
then there's a neighbor next door with 15 acres, has horses.
Okay.
So we
sees the
ride through
animals?
the woods. Oh yeah, he would go feed the animals. It's fun. I mean, we'll listen. We'll stop in the woods and listen to the birds. Usually
Okay.
we'll see all kinds of stuff out there because when you have acres out there, there's cool things in there.
Do you think that this is some of the stuff that you're doing now that maybe you missed doing with Corey when he was younger because you were racing?
Well, you're always
And Casey, too. Not
yes.
just
I mean,
Corey,
when
Casey,
you're
too.
racing and being a champion, you're very selfish
Yeah.
because you have to be selfish in order to beat the other guys and be on top of your game, to be up on the latest and the greatest. I mean, it's a full-time job to run well.
What is it they say? You can be successful on the road or successful at home. You can't do both, right?
Well, I mean, yes and no. I mean, I look back at it now and see, but I also started a business. So if I wasn't home, that's why I had Sundays off. So Sunday was my day with the kids.
That was one of the things that I always kind of admired about you too, because watching you all through the years, and you had your share of Cup starts, but I always wondered, like, why doesn't Lajoie go Cup racing? You did an interview when you said, I can work 5 days a week or I can work 7 days a week. So, which I thought made a lot of sense. I was like, he wants his time.
Yep.
Getting to the seat shop though, when did you officially start the seat company, and what made you want to get into building seats?
94. I'm not sure I wanted to. 94, which my dad bought this seat 1971 from Mark Donahue at the Hartford Civic Center car show. Mark was the Trans Am champion.
Oh yeah,
had his Camaro on
the Sunoco
display.
cars.
Yep,
And drove for Roger Penske.
Yep. So my dad was at the track. We're looking at it. Mark was there signing autographs, and my dad looked. He goes, "Wow, that seat looks comfortable." So he said, "Go ahead, climb in it." So he sat in it, and he goes, "Wow." He's like, "I need this." And Mark says, "Well, I built it for myself. I'll sell you one." So it was a lot longer. So my dad bought one. Mark gave it to him, or sold it to him, and he went to put it in the modified, and it had a big headrest, and it damn near went all the way down to your knees. So it was a long seat. Well, modified's little short things. So he just cut it. Okay, whoop, cut the front off. Okay, cut the top off. Okay, fits in now. Okay, nice seat. So he said, that's what I used when I started driving. And then
When your dad started driving.
oh no, when I started,
When you started,
because he started that using it in '72.
Okay.
And he won like 5 championships in a row. So then when I started, use that seat. Okay. Well, 3 years later, you win some. Guys are, hey, come drive my car. Okay. And you jump in the seat, and it's a rib held in instead of your shoulders. And you're like, what the heck? You go in the corner, and your upper body's falling out. But 94 NASCAR come to me and said, hey, no more fiberglass seats. Next year, we're not going to allow fiberglass. I said, okay, even though I had a frame around it, I had to build a frame around it, because I would bend them and I would break them.
Wait, they weren't made out of aluminum?
No, they were all fiberglass.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah, so my dad made them out of fiberglass, had a guy in fiberglass shop make the molds and make them out of fiberglass. Well, a lot of guys use that style seat. So they said, no more fiberglass. I said, can I do carbon fiber? They're like, no, that's not going to be ever allowed. Okay. How do I make a flat sheet of aluminum round? You have to stamp it. Okay. Went to Butler's, and Brian wasn't nice. And he said, oh, that seat is a piece of crap. And I said, no, it's not. I mean, Mark Donahue invented this thing, 25 years ago. And I've sat in it, and I've run in your seats, and this is a lot nicer than your seats. Now, I'll build you a custom seat. And I said, no, see you later. So, okay, walked out of his place. Steve Richardson was a neighbor. He goes, let's try it. So we took us a month to get one, and we worked there at night on it, a couple hours a night, and it used it, and it wasn't that comfortable. I said, oh boy, we got a lot of work to do. He's like, I'm done. He's like, I helped you enough. I said, okay. Now what? Well, I happened to be at my buddy's house putting a floor in his 55 Chevy. Corey was playing with his daughter. They're probably 12, 13 years old. So they're in the backyard playing. I'm helping him put a trunk in his 55. Neighbor comes over. He goes, hey, you're that seat guy, ain't you? You the driver? I said, yeah. He goes, you had a seat at Carpenter's. I said, yeah, I just dropped it off there the other day. He goes, what are you doing? I said, I want to see if they could stamp it. And he said, what did he say? I said, he told me that it was going to be expensive, and that they really didn't want to do it. I said, okay. He goes, why? He said, I have a buddy in Ohio. He goes, that uses that kind of seat. Got a Porsche, and I said, really? He says, yeah. He goes, let me call him up. So he called the guy up. Well, him and his buddies just did the Richard Petty driving experience 3 days earlier. They were black and blue because they had the old style rib-supported seats.
Okay.
And they're all black and blue. They all had a great time with no flat black or the flat back.
Still had the high back to it.
High back, with no shoulders.
But just around the ribs.
Yes.
Yeah.
And usually those school cars are a little big, and so you're flopping around going 130 mile an hour.
Oh, we ran those in the midgets too. When I drove for my old man, that's
what could possibly go wrong.
All I had. Yeah, I started driving for my dad in '97.
And you caught more damn air than their airline pilot.
It's so funny too because I look back at those photos of driving for my old man, like no head and neck restraints, no shoulder support, no. I had a helmet
strap around your arm,
around my
that was your headrest.
Went under my armpit. That was it. That's what held my head up.
I had one. I was driving a modified IRP. Went out there, different helmet bag because I was also racing Monadnock in a Busch North car. So went out to IRP Friday night race. Get out there in the modified. Bought another strap. Well, okay, so go out, run this modified. I better put this strap on. Okay. Hauling ass. I'm running third.
In whose car?
The 06 Popowski's. 06 Redmond.
Is it Tour? This was a Tour race?
Car. Yeah.
Okay.
Ruggiero won it, matter of fact. Reggie won it in the 44. Running great. Well, my neck my head started going over center. I was like, what the heck? I pull that thing tighter because usually all it did was just kept your head down. So I pull it tighter, but my head's still going. What? I mean, I fell out. I ended up finishing fourth.
Really?
I thought I could have, if I was held my head up, I probably could have done better. Well, I get done and my left arm was darn near blue. It was tingling. So when I released the pressure, I was like, what? And I didn't know. I get and drive up to damn New Hampshire, had an 8-hour ride. So drive, boom, get in the car. Well, on the way, I says, why? What the heck's the difference? Why couldn't I hold my head up? Well, the pigtail on the thing was longer. So from my helmet to here, instead of being 3 inches, it was 6 inches.
Oh.
So no matter how much I tightened, all I did when I kept tightening, I just cut the circulation off.
Kept cutting, sorry, right. Kept making
but
it
my
tighter.
head was still going over center. And I was like, what the heck? So I had to move a popper with up about 6 inches.
Now, was that one of the things that kind of brought you to making the high backs, the headrests on the sides of the seats?
Well, GM, and Tom Gideon from GM, and then he worked for NASCAR, and then he retired, and Dr. John Melvin. They came into me right there when I built my first seats, 94. I just built my aluminum ones. I met a guy that could do stamping. So finally I met the guy through the guy from Carpenters, and he goes, I can do this. I can stamp those for you.
In Ohio?
Yeah.
Okay.
And he sent me the fixtures to hold the pieces together. I mean, he's been a wonderful partner for 25 years.
Okay.
So
still with the same guy?
Still with the same guy.
That's great.
And he's not. We're both a whole lot older we were than we started 25 years ago. Never thought we were going to make it this far, but at the end of the day, he's the reason I'm here. And we saved a lot of lives in the industry. But we're going to probably do something here coming up. I'm going to have to probably find a local stamping company. Because the relationship he's had, his wife is sick. He's mid-70s. But his parents have a great bloodline. His parents are 98 and 99, and they're both healthy as all get out. So that's a good thing. But I'm not sure how much he wants to work.
Well, you first started building seats for you to feel comfortable in a car. Yeah. When did the idea of, all right, now we're going to become a seat building company like Kirky or Butler Built or any of the ones out there?
Well, I mean, the investment, you're talking, it was, I look at it today as like, okay, the seat company, I'm making payments on a $300,000 investment. I'm still making payments. It has, but then again, I had a crooked accountant that went to jail. So he didn't do me no darn favors.
Right.
So the company got itself out of a hole we could have shut down, but we didn't. And I'm not on the road as much as I used to, but because when I started this, 10% of the market, maybe under 10%, was contained. That had, this is 04, 05. This is after Earnhardt, 4 or 5 years. I mean, we all know why he died. He didn't have a head and neck on. He didn't have a good seat. The belts weren't mounted right, and it was a 5-point disaster that we lost 4 guys before him, same issues. But once we lost him, they paid attention. It's okay, we're not going to let this happen again. Knock on wood, they haven't. So the systems in these cars have gotten so much better. But it's still, I mean, here 2022, and, there's rated seats out there. I think the only racetracks in the country that mandate rated seats is shutting down is I-80, the Kozinski family. They've been doing it the last 5 years. As you want to race here, you have to have a good seat. You have to have a head and neck restraint, or you don't race here. And he says the 2 or 3 people that didn't come back, he says, I helped them out and buying their stuff for them.
Okay.
I mean, a lot of racetracks have to step up and say, hey, guys, I try to explain to them racing is like playing Russian roulette. If you have all the bullets, that means you have a seat that's 15 years old, no containment, no head and neck. That's your chambers are full. Yeah, right, your chambers are full. Okay, you have a good containment seat, take a bullet out. You have a head and neck restraint, take a bullet out. You have the belt placements, take a bullet out.
Right. So, what you're doing is lowering your probability of getting hurt.
Always going to be dangerous. That's why you wear a helmet.
Right.
So just take the bullets out. I'll play Russian roulette with no bullets. Yeah, let's go. But one, I'm not quite sure. So that's what I try to explain. Put your safety stuff on. Let it work for you. I mean, here's an issue I just at the Stafford drivers meeting here a couple weeks ago. You got to learn how to crash. And people are like, what do you mean? I said, well, let your safety equipment work for you. I said, Corey at Charlotte blows a tire in practice, left rear. Spins around, left rear, left side slap. Knocked him loopy. I mean, I don't think it was any worse than Kurt Busch's deal. Well, okay, I'm not sure if whatever, but he got the race the next day. Races the next day, does the same thing. Same tire goes down, same issue, same hit. I mean, they mimicked each other. Well, he says the second one wasn't half as hard as the first one. And I was like, really? I say, they looked the same. He goes, no, it wasn't even close. So, okay, so I happened to be at the R&D center the following week, working with Padillac on some stuff. And he goes, hey, let me show you this stuff with Corey. I said, yeah, so there's all high-speed cameras in the cars now. And Corey's been wearing an accelerometer in his mouth to give them information, what happens, and stuff like that. So
is this to contribute to the black box technology?
Correct.
Okay.
Yes, just so they could realize what's going on. So, okay, they looked at the camera. The first one, the thing blows a tire, Corey's head goes like this, and when it hit, it went over here. So center line moved 5 inches. Boom. Okay, second one, before he hit, he put his head over here.
He didn't have that far to travel.
Correct. So utilize your safety. If you're going to hit forward, put your head forward. Lock your hands out. Lock your head and neck out. Because it's going. Wherever you're hitting, that's where your head's going.
You think that's why drivers in the past got hurt over the years? Because they saw it coming and, braced for it?
None of them, because you had to hold yourself in.
Right. Yeah.
You used to I wrapped the steering wheel around a handful of times.
Yeah.
And that's why I was taught never let go of the wheel. Because it bent, it bent right around.
Now they do because it'll break your wrists, right?
Well, I don't know.
I've seen guys take their hands off the wheel because
IndyCar stuff, because it flaps, because of I think the rack and pinions back in the day when you had an old 16-to-1 box and a bus steering wheel, it was kind of slow.
Right.
Nowadays you got a go-kart steering wheel and you got an 8-to-1 box, so your 3-inch movement is moving your tires.
I know.
Where before it used to be a foot.
I buried my old man's car in the wall in turn 3 at Thompson, and in the right front, and it took the wheel out of my hands. It had the rack in it. And it didn't break my wrist, but it sprained it. It bothered it for a while. But for you though, the early days, of course, we're talking about Thompson. You've raced there, being from the Northeast and everything. Started off at Danbury.
Luckily, it closed. Otherwise, I'd still be there.
That was my other question. Like, Danbury was always fascinating to me because I'd never been to a race there or anything, but it was a club.
Yep.
And explain to the younger fans that are listening and watching that you got voted in and voted out. Mm-hmm. So, what did the racing program consist of? Did they have other divisions where those guys were voted in and voted out, or was it just the modifieds?
The last 3 years, they started a sportsman division, which eventually turned into SKs at Stafford. When Danbury closed, they took that rule package and put it in place at Stafford and said, these are the SKs.
Okay.
But that was only the last 3 years. Danbury,
I thought Jack Arute was the guy who invented the SK modified.
After he got handed the rule book from Danbury.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Okay, this is what we're going to have.
Oh, okay.
So we go, and Danbury you had a Norwalk. You had 5 cars from Norwalk. You had 8 cars from Danbury. You had 6 cars from Waterbury. You had 10 cars from New York, which was right on the line. Well, they all brought people. And
they're groups. I get it.
Yeah. So now there's sections in the grandstand. You got the Lajoie section, you got the Stockwell section, you got the Fauché section, Bob Riley section, Rip Patchen section. I mean, it was amazing. And they raced for 40% of the gate. So when they averaged 8,000 to 10,000 people at $5 a head, my dad would win a 25-lap feature and come out here with $3,000.
Wow.
What's wrong with that?
From back in the early 70s.
Correct.
That's big money.
All the way up to the 80s.
Yeah, that's
shut
big
down
money.
79, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because the grandstand was full. So the club, got a percentage of it. Mm-hmm. Okay, everybody was happy.
There are modified guys now that would kill the race for $3,000 a night.
For 25 laps. Yes. And a good racetrack. I mean, you could go as fast on the outside. You could run a 17.0 on the outside, and you run the inside, you're 17.0.
Now, did everyone make the main event?
No, hell no. They had constants.
So what was the cap of the number of drivers that could be voted in to race there? And how?
It took a long time.
And who voted?
The club. If you were part of the club, you were an owner for years and years. I mean, I say, and there wasn't probably 6 or 7 guys that got let in the club, and that I could remember in the last 4 or 5 years. I mean, Billy Greco was one. They let Billy in. I think one of the Richie or somebody wanted to come because it was going to be a Saturday night. Where else can you go in the country on the East Coast and win a race for $3,000 for 25 laps? Yeah. So a lot of these guys they're like, no, you ain't coming in taking our money. Because the rules were all done by the guys. That they would have bi-weekly meetings and cover the rules. The owners of the cars, the drivers, and the officials. There was 6 officials, and and not always did they get along, but they made it pretty darn fair. And they had protests. I mean, my dad's car had been protested for weight. I mean, once he left early 70s. He wanted to go to Stafford. So he built a NASCAR Tour Legal Modified. About halfway through the year, I mean, they were having trouble running 15th. Well, they brought scales in. Well, his car was 2,800 pounds, and the 3 car with Freddie DeZero, it was 1,800 pounds. So my dad says, maybe that's why I'm 15th. Well, he learned a lot. Okay. Well, then he built his new car to go back to Danbury in 73 and won 5 championships in a row. So
even if you left, you were still voted in? If you didn't show up?
No, I think he, I don't know what happened. He kept his number. I don't know how that politics worked. So he kept his number. My uncle was the owner. I don't.
The track?
No, the number.
Okay.
Yeah. So it wasn't like NASCAR on the number, So it was. I'm not sure how I don't know if he took a 2-year hiatus. I think they let him, but because when he came back, he definitely educated. Because you go on the road and you go where the big boys run.
Right, you learn.
Whew, yes, you do quickly.
Now it must have pissed someone off to get voted out of there.
I'm not sure how many ever did. That's a question for somebody else. I mean, I don't know.
Because from we had Reggie on the show, and he, he loved his days at Danbury too.
No, he was Plainville.
That was it. Plainville.
Yes, he was Plainville.
Bad,
yeah, but see, they had because they were both similar in size.
Okay.
Now, I never went to Plainville because if you were Danbury, you were Danbury. You were Plainville, you were Plainville, and they weren't but 40 miles apart.
Okay.
But they had great crowds at both places, and it was cool because Teddy's right around the corner. Old TC, he was Plainville, Connecticut guy forever.
Yeah, and you sold him
his first ever
modified, right?
First ever modified.
Now, okay, for those early years, then, so did you play around with go-karts?
Go-karts
did you race them?
Norwalk, Calf Pasture Beach.
Okay,
it's still Parker Kligerman has done that.
Where did you go from go-karts? Go-karts from there to what?
Danbury. You had to be
right to a modified.
Yeah, well, the SK, the Sportsman.
Okay.
Yes, because you had to be 18. Mm-hmm. You had to be 18 to drive Danbury. Mm-hmm. Okay, so 18. My dad bought a car at a body shop that was repossessed, and he let Bob Riley use it to go to Trenton. Bob went down to Trenton with it, put his motor and stuff in it, and finished decent. And the thing was just sitting outside the junkyard. My dad said, "You want to race next year? Here's your car."
It was one of those Speedway modifieds?
No. It was before. It was after that. Yeah,
okay.
It was after, and guys would just run a regular modified, and they just put some wings on it.
Those are the ones that ran at Trenton.
Yeah.
Okay,
yep.
Gotcha. I gotcha.
So he said, "You want a car? There it is." So okay. So that was my winter project, was putting this thing together to go race.
How old were you at the time?
18.
Okay.
Yeah.
At building this at the junkyard.
At the junkyard. Oh yeah. So right. Okay. So had that first year, 15 lap races. I won one. Had a bunch of top fives. I think we run second, third in points.
Okay.
Next year we come back. I went and put the car on a rotating weight diet. Everything that rotated, I cut. I was in machine shop school.
Brake drums,
whatever. Bolts, drilled holes in bolts, chamfered bolts. Anything that spun, if the brake shoe did not hit it on the caliper or the rotor, I would cut it off. So okay, I'm going to use and
okay, gotcha.
So I turned I saved with all the shavings I saved. It was like 12 pounds of rotating weight, and that they say it's times 10 to regular weight. So I stayed over 100 pounds. I shaved off 100 pounds.
Wow.
But that thing would just go. What a difference. I don't think I had the best motor because I drove somebody else's car. Well, hell, we ended up winning 13 out of 22 races.
Okay.
It never started before up against 14.
Championship, I guess?
Yes. Well, they went to 20 laps.
Okay.
So in that extra 5-lap distance, best I could start was 14th. They handicapped you high point. The guy started 14th,
which in my opinion, is a great system to set a field.
That's right.
Handicapping the system.
You learn how to race, and you put on a show.
Right. That's why I think some of the racing in the Northeast is some of the best around.
Correct.
It's the most intense because they handicap it.
That's right. Yes.
If you won the previous week, you're
that's right. You're working.
Yeah, you got to work. Exactly.
Correct. I had to change. I had guys mirror drive me so bad. I had a red, white, blue stripe. Come from the front bumper right over the center of the car. Well, I put my car against somebody else's. I jumped in the guy's car and I looked in the mirror. "What are you doing?" I said, "Nothing. I'm just looking in the mirror." Well, the only thing I could see was I couldn't see the air cleaner of my car behind me, but I could see the red, white, blue stripe going right down the center. I was like, okay.
Easy to spot in the mirror.
Yep. So before every race, halfway through that season, I put a 6-inch different color tape. Every night, right before the race. Tape it a different color. So you see the guys look up, they didn't bust your chops. And then you got under them, they're like, "Oh, hell."
It's a joy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And after the race, we pulled the tape off.
That's great.
But I had to. Because, I've been putting the fence more often than not. Because guys looking at you. Ronnie Rocco, I tell this story at New London. Once Danbury closed, we went Friday at Stafford, Saturday at New London.
In the modifieds.
Yeah. And Ronnie Rocco would show up in the North End Auto Parts car, 54 car, unload right at the Concy, missed the heat races, unload, probably win the Concy, So everything's handicapped. It's okay. I was going for the championship, so I was always behind all the guys, and the Conti cars start right next to you. Well, me and him are side by side. We were racing, and they used to call me Sparky because I would spark the front tires on the guy's Nerf bar because it was cool because it comes over your head. I mean, anytime you see sparks come over your head, I thought that was really cool. So whether it was a left front or right front, I would spark the guys going on. So old Sparky.
It's easy to do at Waterford, too.
Yeah,
You're always
absolutely.
turning.
Yes,
It's easy to lean on someone.
So I look over in the corner at him. I'm on the outside of him. And I look over, and he's looking at me. And he's got his arms just going, woo-hoo! This guy's nuts. This guy. He's a good little racer. Yeah, obviously the boys have done well.
Oh, yeah. Keith Rocco is one of the best in the Northeast. That's kind of funny. So,
Stafford, and while we're at New London, Dickie Williams was a promoter.
Right. No, I heard the story on Dale Jr. show.
Yeah. So they brought they brought the NASCAR North guys in, and he said, "Hey, I got this kid. We'll put his kid in the car," and they did, and I liked it. Well, Bob Johnson was there. I think he just got out of Cup Series, Racehall Farms.
With Bouchard.
Yep.
Okay.
So he was there. Him and my dad had been friends.
But he was a modified guy.
Yes. Oh yeah.
Too,
yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Absolutely. Okay. Hell, my dad flipped over turn 3 with Bob Johnson's car, 76 Sizzler, launched it right over Charlie J. Blew up. There's a picture of the 1 car and the 17 car going launching. And my dad was in the 17 car.
Real quick, just what was that coupe modified that you drove
83.
for a while? The 83 car.
Yeah,
it was like
Danbury
blue
Autobody. Pretty
car. Was that your car?
No, Cheech Garday built that car.
That thing was gorgeous.
Oh, my
That
gosh.
was cool looking.
Yeah, so Cheech Garday built that car with Ricky Bennett, Danbury Autobody, and Cunha.
Okay. How long did you run that car?
Just 1 season.
At Stafford?
Yes. Okay. I think I finished the season out because we were in the point race for the NASCAR North deal.
That thing was a crowd pleaser.
Oh, my gosh. Yeah, but it wasn't. Yes, a pull-the-pin Flynn. It had a Bill Flynn motor in it. We used to call it pull-the-pin Flynn because it would run, but it 1 week it blew my feet off the pedals. It freaking the bottom of the motor come out, knocked the pedals out of the thing just from the thing. I said, "What happened?" I said, "Pull-the-pin Flynn."
Oh,
yeah, but that thing would run, and it was so precise. You know,
it was a chassis dynamics
car,
right?
yeah. And I said, "Hey guys, we got to tighten this thing up. It's too loose. It's too loose." So they called Cheech, who moved to South Carolina to work on the Hendrick 5 car. So he's gonna call him up. What should we do? Okay, we're gonna drop the track bar 16th.
He worked and lived down here, but he owned the car up there.
He built the car.
Oh, he built the car.
Yeah, and he drove it for a little bit until he moved. He wasn't, his fabrication skills were way higher than his driving skills. So when they call him, I said, "Well, drop the track bar 16th." What the heck, a 16th? Okay, go on the heat race. It's still loose, guys. We got that's loose. Run second or third in the heat race, and going for the lead. 2 to go. I spun out, come out of 4, and backed it in the fence. So the thing's sitting against the fence at the start-finish line. I get out. I'm driving 4 hours up north to do North race the next day. So I come in. "What's the matter?" I said, "I got a flat left rear." I said, "I told you it was loose." Well, I knocked the clip off the thing. And they're like, I was like, "Guys, just listen. If I tell you it's loose, I don't want to go, practice heat race and the feature. I said, fix it." And then we won like 3 of them. And I said, "Hey, if we put a Cavalier body on this thing, we'll be untouched," because the thing was draggy because the back.
It was a big umbrella.
Big, yes, correct.
Right.
And the back window caught everything. I was like, either cut the window out right behind my head. I said, because I can feel this thing.
Right.
I was like, man, I said, we slicking this thing up. I was like, they won't catch us. That's still around. He redid it. He run that thing at Indianapolis. He's run it.
That's cool.
Yeah, he got an Everham Chrysler in the thing, I do believe.
That's cool.
Old Cup car.
So
900 horsepower.
So you ran that Busch North race. Was it NASCAR North or what did they call it?
NASCAR North.
It was NASCAR North back then before Busch North.
We run that
for Crouch,
modified.
right? Was he drive for Robbie Crouch?
CA Crouch. That was his dad.
Okay.
Yep, 36 car.
Okay.
Yep. And then we took that car Bob Johnson, my dad had, that old Firebird Speedway modified that they had, cut the Firebird off, went out back in the junkyard, got a Ventura body.
The car we were just watching
Yes.
on YouTube.
Yeah. We put the Ventura on it, ran Stafford. And there again, that thing was probably 3,300 pounds, and we're racing against guys that were 2,900 pounds. Go to Dover, run really well at Dover. Won the second year down there.
Okay.
With that car.
Well, you qualified on the outside
of
of who was it? Dragon, Beaver or Bobby Dragon?
Bobby.
What were those guys like? Oh my God! I mean, those guys are Northeast legends, Beaver and Bobby Dragon. Let's talk some old Bush North stuff, because I know we've got guys
that's how
watch the series.
My son got his name Beaver.
Yeah, I know
Casey.
the nickname.
Yes, but they're two hard-nosed racers. Beaver was a little older. Bobby just a wonderful guy. Both of them are. I mean, it's I learned a lot. I mean, I my first race I won, I beat both those guys. I passed both those guys for the win. And they took me under the win. They helped me no matter whenever I wanted. I would go to racetrack. What do I need? Follow me. Okay.
Why do you think they didn't, pursue like going down south anymore? Or do you think
they were fine where they were?
Okay.
I mean, that's.
Well, you guys did race at some cool places. I was, looking at, Catamount, and there was you ran at Sanair, right?
Absolutely.
That place was
I won a race
triangle.
There.
That was
yes.
forget Pocono being a triangle.
No,
this was a real deal triangle.
That's the highs and lows of that place. I was leading it, and Gardner Levitt blew up going into 3. 20 laps ago, I led the whole race. 20 laps ago, he blows up right in front of me.
North race, right?
Yeah, and I drive straight into the fence. Oh, it was heartbreaking. Ended up going back the next year, won the race. Had an event with Tim Richmond there. I beat him for the pole. Went out with him that night, and it was probably the best night of my life. I just smile because the owner of the racetrack owned some finer establishments.
So Tim Richmond was running a North race?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, he would go Steve Poulin's car. It was 84.
This was back in the day where sportsman cars down south and
he was driving he was driving a North guy's car.
Right, but this was also
very similar.
But the rules package was was very similar, so you could go down south if you wanted to, right?
Yes, we did. Yeah.
All right, cool.
But we never did, just because. I mean, the Southern guys with the Cup Series guys were always 2/10 quicker than the North guys, just because of information. They had the information quicker than the North guys. So it was difficult for North guys to come down, come to Martinsville, come here to come there. Right. Because, you're, man, 10 of these guys are really damn good. Right. No, they're not better than me. But darn, their packages, their stuff's better than my stuff. Just because, if it's 80 pounds lighter, because they got the information first or they got the parts first.
Right. Well, I do remember races back in the day, Bush North races, as also counting towards the Southern Championship, or
they did. They had a couple of years combined races. Yes, they did.
I remember they would do that.
They would do that.
New Hampshire.
Yes, a lot of the bigger tracks that they wanted to draw some Southern cars up. Yeah.
Wow, that was cool. So all of those years you ran. That car that you were just talking about, the red car. When did you start driving for the Snellman car?
84.
Now Bob Johnson owned it. The Snellman sponsored it, or was it
all four owners? Bob, myself. It was Snellman's Double R Racing.
Okay.
Snellman's was on top. Double R. One was facing to the left with a J on the leg for Johnson, and the other one was an L for Lajoie. Okay. So it was me, Bob, Kai, and Yote.
Okay.
Which Bob brought the smarts and the tools. I had all the equipment, and they had the money.
Okay.
So
everybody brought something different to the table.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Because it's hard enough to own a car with a partner.
Exactly.
Have 4 people.
Yeah,
so.
exactly. So okay. Yeah. So I gave them everything I had, which was a truck and a trailer, my ramp truck. I sold the modified to Teddy Christopher, took that money and bought a NASCAR North car.
Okay.
So, I'll haul it. Bob, you work on it. Snellman's, you pay the bills. Okay, let's go.
Cool.
Yeah, and it was good. And we to travel up and down where we did, we were 3 hours south of everybody else in the north. That the NASCAR North Tour was pretty much if you were on the New Hampshire Vermont line up there.
Oh, yeah,
you were perfect. You were
ran-
Barry area or White River Junction area.
You ran way up there, too.
Yeah.
Like, you ran like Flamborough, Canada, too, right?
Oh, yeah, we went to Halifax.
Oxford.
Caribou, Maine.
You went to Canada?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean,
Cayuga.
Quebec
You used
City.
to love Cayuga, right?
God,
you used to rave about Cayuga, right?
Great racetrack. Had one of my worst ass kickings there by
It's
Earnhardt.
all right. You can use four-letter words.
Yeah,
there.
by Earnhardt, senior. We go up there to race. I mean, we're top 3-point guys, so we're running the big dogs. And he come in there with the Wrangler number 15 car. I mean, we're on McCleary's, and he comes in with Goodyears. So okay. So at the end of the race, I lapped up to 10th. He was on my back bumper at the checker flag. I run second. So
you'd almost lap the field if he'd have gotten you.
Correct. And, I mean, my tongue was hanging out. And he didn't have an ounce of sweat on him. I mean, it was a long day. It was a 250-lap race.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And it's a North race.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And I remember I was white chasing him, And he goes, when you get older, he says, I'll teach you some of this stuff. I said, okay, please.
How much older was
20,
he?
21. I was 20, 21 right there.
And how old was he?
Well, I mean, he had me by 10, 12 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
So at one point, excuse me, at what point do you finally decide I'm going to go and try to race down south? Because, watching videos and stuff, you tried to qualify. Well, of course, that big wreck you had in 1984.
That kind of hindered.
That was the 125 qualifier. That was a cup race.
Yep.
But
we were going to run like 10 races that year.
Right, but you didn't make your first cup start till years later.
Correct. Right. Yeah, we killed the car and almost killed me. So and we went back the following year. That was 84. Went back 85 again. The car made the race. Morgan Shepherd drove it.
Okay. Why'd they take you out of it?
We didn't make the show. We got crashed, and I won the last non-qualifiers race that was ever at Daytona.
Really?
Yeah. So you didn't get into the race, but something happened to Morgan's car, and they come over and rented ours. They said, okay.
Oh, okay.
So yeah.
And that was the four of you guys: Bob Johnson, you, and the Snellmans.
Yep.
Okay, I got you. All right, that wreck at Daytona. Obviously, it happened the same weekend that Ricky Rudd had his big wreck too. So you guys had two huge wrecks in the same area of the track, or similar areas of the track. Yours was vicious because you took a bottom hit.
Thank God. I think that's. I mean, I tell people I used to be really tall. If I would have hit sideways, I'd been dead.
Yeah.
So all that did was, thankfully that seat fit me well, and it squeezed the frame rail alongside my butt cheek, and couldn't get the lead out of the car.
Wow.
So it was quite an impact.
Right.
Bottom. My back is okay, other than being too damn fat. But I mean, if that didn't hurt my back, I said, the seat's pretty damn good because your whole body took the impact.
Right. Well, they put you on the stretcher and put you in the ambulance. What were the extent of your injuries from that wreck?
Which I went back. That was Thursday. Went back to the racetrack Saturday, and big old guy in a fire uniform says, "You know who I am? Remember me?" I said, "No, not really." Because I was over there when we took you out of the car there the other day. I said, "Okay, cool." He says, "They take you out of the car. They look at you." He goes, "And you weren't breathing." He goes, "They look at you and said, he ain't breathing." He goes, "So I look, and it was an open face helmet and a microphone." He goes, "The microphone was in your mouth." He says, "So I opened your mouth, and when I opened your mouth to take the microphone out," he goes, "Hell, there was a bunch of grass in there." He says, "I reach in there," he goes, "I pulled a damn clump of grass out of your mouth." He says, "About the size of a damn baseball."
Wow.
He says, "And your legs started moving."
No kidding.
I said, "Well, thank you." So I vapor locked for a little bit. And that's one of the last things I remember is taking a deep breath. And obviously when I took a deep breath,
right,
I must have sucked in some freaking grass.
So you did get knocked unconscious.
Yeah. I was I had a headache for 2 months.
When did you remember waking up?
Yeah, watching it on TV.
They said hospital?
Yeah.
So you woke up in the hospital. And
when I started remembering. They said I was awake when I got into the infield care center. My mom and dad were there, and they said, oh, he was fine. He was in the infield care center.
Wow.
I don't remember until watching the news. And I said, what the hell am I doing here? And they're like, well, here, watch this. And I was like, oh, hell. I said, am I okay? They're like, yeah, it's okay. Got out the next day.
When you finally saw it, were you thinking, holy shit.
Yeah, it was a big wreck.
So you were about to say something really big and really important before I cut you off, too. I just forgot what the hell it was that you were going to say. It was about the wreck, too. You said you had a headache. That was it. You had a headache for 2 months?
Oh, yeah.
From what? Concussion? Post-concussion
obviously,
syndrome?
all of that.
Okay, really?
Yeah. I mean, we went, the Snellmans, they had a plane. Me, little Jimmy, John, the son, fiance, they had a place in the Bahamas. So they flew us to the Bahamas for a couple of weeks.
Just to relax?
Well, I killed a bottle of Tylenol a day.
Wow.
Slept. I mean, it was a different 2 weeks that I've ever had in my life. I mean, it was...
Well, head injuries were different back then, right?
Nobody knew nothing.
Nobody knew
Yeah, that's right. I mean, okay, fine, just go over here, which I'm not... It's still a science project.
Yeah, no,
it's still...
All medical... The entire medical field is still a science project.
Yes, it is.
So, all right, so at what point did you guys decide, all right, cup racing is probably not for us, we're going to stick with...
That was 84, and we knew we were going to go one more year up north.
Okay.
So that's when we come out and we won the championship, 85.
Okay, with the Snellmans
Yep.
and
yeah,
Bob
the
Johnson.
NASCAR North deal.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And then they're like, okay, what do we want to do? They didn't have, they had all their projects were 3/4 done, had nothing else coming in. So, okay, we want to do something, and then, okay, I think Bob got an offer to go south. So, okay, he's going south. So I piddled for probably 3 years, run a pro stock for Freddie Rosner.
Okay.
And then run a modified a couple times.
Okay.
And then
just trying to figure out what you're going to do.
Yeah, I learned how to play golf, you know. So, okay.
But within that time, was it I want to make this my career, or you were just racing for fun?
That was it. Just off of fun.
Okay.
Yeah, off of fun, and okay, we can do this. I mean, I went down south a couple times, and okay, well, and then following year, I think we bought bought another Pontiac from Lenny Bowler, that Robbie Crouch run to run speedways. So we bought that speedway car from Lenny.
It was a speedway modified?
Late model. It was a Busch car.
Lenny Bowler built Busch cars?
Robbie Crouch drove it, matter of fact.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
A couple times.
Okay.
So it was a Busch car. So we ran. My first time in that car was Darlington. Run 7th. Learned a lot. Learned a lot from old Jack Ingram. Just followed him. I mean, I said, why is this old man letting off over here? About hitting him. And then what the heck? It takes me 3 laps to catch him. And then Johnson come on the radio and says, just follow him. He says, he'll teach you how to run this place. Thank God. Because I ended up winning the race there. Because I followed him. Because that's a place where it's so rhythm orientated. And how do you pass a guy? You got to get him, at certain areas. Otherwise, you're going to lose 3 spots.
Yeah.
So one of the best moves I ever made was following Jack that day.
Over the years, I mean, God, look at some of the greats that you have got to share the track with. I mean, all of the biggest legends.
Correct.
I mean,
the Northeast, John Paul Cabana, the Canadians, Junior Hanley.
Right. I mean, Charlie Ritchie.
Yes.
Dale Earnhardt.
I didn't race Charlie and Ritchie a lot.
You can go down the list though, but you've shared the track with him.
Absolutely.
Darrell Waltrip. I mean, all of the the
Correct.
Hall of Famers that have been out there. Jeff.
You know what's cool now
everyone.
is the kids that I sized up 15 years ago that were in my stuff. Now they bring their kids in, and I'm like, okay, Jonathan Davenport just won. He's $1.5 million in winnings in the dirt car this year. Well, I remember him when he was just a regional guy, 15 years ago for Ray Cook and Chris Tilley on the Southern National deal. I mean, he was just a local guy, and I was like, And he's still just a local guy. I mean, he brought his son in. He was building his son a seat for Millbridge. So that's really cool to see. You realize how old you're getting. You know, when the kids that you knew were kids bring in kids.
Right. Yeah. And well, getting back to when you were a kid, you know, you hazed over, and I've got to get back to this. You hazed over the Tim Richmond story quick. You said that was the best night you had in your life.
Correct.
What happened?
It was a great night.
Come on.
It was a great night.
Oh, come on.
That picture does him justice.
That picture does him justice. Oh my God! And that's all, huh? You're not gonna.
They dropped us off at 8:00 in the morning at the racetrack.
Confirm or deny anything that happened, huh?
No, it was a wonderful evening.
Did you show up at the track hungover?
Way.
Really?
Thank God the race was Sunday. Qualified was Friday.
Oh, really?
Saturday was a hooligan race. We didn't have to participate in.
Well, because you qualified.
Correct.
Right? Okay.
Oh yeah. Thank God.
Did you go out and party the next night, too?
No. I think I slept all day. With a smile on my face.
Was he ready to go? Was he just
the end of the day?
Did he have to sleep?
No, I didn't see him till race day.
You know, I had heard this funny story about him one time where he was driving the Folgers car. I think it was at Charlotte. Nobody could find him. You know, they're getting ready to qualify. He's like 2 or 3 necks to go out or something, and I had heard, like, and I don't know if it's true or not, he comes driving down pit road in a Cadillac with 2 chicks in the car, and he gets out of the car, jumps in the cup car, puts it on the pole, gets back, gets out of the car, hops it back in the Cadillac with the 2 chicks, takes back off again.
And the problem with that is?
And I don't know. I want to confirm if it's true or not, or if it actually happened.
I don't remember that, but I wouldn't put it past him.
I heard the stories, but obviously, we don't know if it's true or not. That's what I'm trying to find out. If the facts lead up to the legend. But okay, so
he was great for the sport. I mean, he was a talent to watch.
Oh, I do. I grew up watching him too. I remember watching him. I even remember him in the Indy cars in the early days back in the day. So I was a Tim Richmond fan back then.
Yep.
But so for you though, when did the initial move finally come? Going, okay, I'm going down south and I'm going to try to do this.
Jimmy Spencer calls.
Mm-hmm.
He said, "Hey, I just got a deal to run Cup cars." He says, and they really don't want me to run the Busch cars. I said, okay. He goes, we're at Pocono this week. Let's go down and see Frank. He said, Frank's going to be there.
Frank Cece.
Yeah. He goes, and talk him into putting you in the 34 car.
He owned modified too, right?
Yeah.
That's why he used McLaughlin and Spencer, because they were modified guys, right?
Yeah, when then he switched to Busch cars. Mm-hmm. When him and Jimmy got out of the modifieds, they went Busch racing. Mm-hmm. So he said, I'm going, I can't run it no more. So I went down to Pocono, seen Frank. He goes, yeah, I'll hire you. He goes, I got 5 cars. I got 3 motors. I'll give you $300 a week, 40% top 5s, 30% everything else.
Who was the sponsor on the car?
Was it just a white car. That was a white car. That's all. Quick stop on the hood.
Okay.
I said, sure, let's go. So I had a place to live down here. Little Jimmy had a place. So I said, hey, I'll hire you. Let's Frank will hire you. Let's go do this. And okay. Well, we got there and he had 1 car instead of 5. Well, there was 5 there, but 3 were outside under a tree. And
so you worked in the shop and drove the car too, which is very rare nowadays.
Yeah, no, that's right. So, okay, first race out, Hickory, run second. Should have won the thing. We pitted later than everybody else. I always was fast in that car.
Wait a minute. Dick Trickle won the race, right? At Hickory? Wasn't that his first win or something like that?
Could have been.
I think it was.
Yeah, because that was after the Duraloop car, so he might have been in the Duraloop car.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you come out of the box with a great run.
Yes. Yeah. And okay, we're off, and we had great runs. Oh, dude, we never won a race with that 34 car. Rougemont. We'd go to Rougemont. John Young.
Okay.
He had more hairbrushes in the toolbox than he had wrenches, but his hair looked good. We always run good. I mean, Rougemont, we had them covered. Mm-hmm. Oh, gee, I think Jimmy lapped the field there the year before, and they built a 3-lane car. Mm-hmm. And okay, so we had them covered. Got spun out early, And then Rick Mast cleaned me out. I mean, destroyed us. Took me going into 3. I hit the pit gate, destroyed the car. Spring went over the fence. So Rick ended up running second, maybe, second or third, and that's the night that Presley and Tommy Ellis crashed coming to the checkered. They climbed the wall, and Mast run third, and I went to victory. I went to the scales, and I won Hot Yankee. I'm mad, just by myself. So I go roll into the scale, and there's quite a few Southern people. And I'm just running my mouth to Rick Mast. And he turns around and looks at me and says, "Welcome to the South, Yankee."
Okay. So was it then you said, okay, is that how you're going to play here?
Yes. I was okay. So, I mean, I kind of knew going in I was a little outnumbered. So I was like, okay, this is – I tried that once in Canada and didn't work out too good for me. So
What'd you do?
Well, I tried messing with a Canadian guy, and about 6 of them picked me up.
Oh, God.
Yeah. So, okay, I'm not going to do that again. So I was okay. Okay, not a problem.
Did you ever get your evens with Rick Mast?
He got out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I never had a clear shot.
Right,
Yep.
right. Well, he wasn't your biggest.
No, that's right.
rival.
That's right. Yeah,
Buckshot
okay.
was your biggest one. I mean, I heard the story. I saw the. I've seen the races and
His
heard
name
the
is
stories on
yeah.
the podcasts and everything.
His name is Roy. Yeah.
I know. So, all right. So you ran for Frank Sisi for a bunch of years.
2 years. 2 years, and then okay, money showed up. Clifford Allison showed up with some money. And Frank said, "Randy, I need money." I said, "Okay, I don't have money."
Okay.
Okay. So then I opened a little fabrication business.
When Clifford died driving for Frank at Michigan?
No.
Was that the practice crash that happened?
No, he was driving for a gentleman. What the heck's his name? Barry Owens.
Okay.
When that happened, it was a year after that. He drove for Frank maybe 6 months, and then Frank got somebody else with another sponsor. So,
okay.
So it was a pay-to-play deal for Frank until the Onion showed up.
Was that when the whole buy a ride thing was starting to happen?
It seemed like it to me. Yeah.
Is that when
Yep.
it happened? It was.
Yep.
It was really in the mid '90s when all of this started
right there.
to happen.
Yep.
Really?
93, 94.
Okay. So,
Because
and
94, which was crazy, went cup racing. Went back to Moroso. Moroso had an opening, 94.
this was after Robbie died?
Yes.
Okay.
Robbie died, 89, 90. So somehow he called and said, "Hey, I need a driver for Talladega." He goes, "Bobby Hamlin's running the cup car. He don't want to run the Busch car." Absolutely. I've never done it. How hard can it be? So, yeah. Well, we go there and we run second to Earnhardt. Okay, go to Darlington, run second to Mark Martin. Wow.
This was in the 25 car.
No, 20 car.
The 20 car.
20 car, yeah, 20 car. And they had FINA, and I met a lot of people. They brought a lot of hospitality. And they're like, okay, this is wonderful. This is great. I mean, it works good for our customers. This works good for here. Okay. Well, then I go cup racing. At the end of that year, I went cup racing with Bill Davis. But I told the people I met all within FINA, I said, "Guys, this is a wonderful project for you guys." I says, "Everybody gets it. Your customers get it." I says, "I don't know where Dick is mentally. I mean, I would hate to think anybody that loses a child is 100%.
Right.
And I don't ever want to worry about that myself. But so it's hard to say where Dick was, but he had good days and bad days. And I said, I'm not sure where that program is going, what's he going to do with a couple different drivers that he has. I was like, but don't get mad, because your customers like this. This works. So I go cup racing. Get shit canned halfway through the year. So I said, okay, this ain't fun.
Yeah, let go at Bill Davis.
Yeah.
But it was wasn't it like a development thing, or the cars were handling
they're
terribly
terrible.
or something?
Yeah, they're just
Everything
was wrong.
The new Pontiacs, they were still trying to figure them out or something, right?
I mean, yes and no. I mean, when my dad would come to the race and say right before the start of the race, he goes, "Hey, watch your right front." He goes, "Only half of it's on the ground." I was like, "Huh?" He goes, "Yeah." He said, "Look," and he bring you over to the tire pile, your practice tires. And you look at your right front. You know, the outer edge of the tire's not even touching the ground. It had too much camber in it. Mm. Well, and then, okay, that's going to make you loose getting in the corner at 170 mile an hour. Yeah. You know, but I said, "Guys, why don't we put a longer A-frame over there?" "No, we're good. That's what Mark Martin runs." Who knows where his upper plate is? Everything, we don't need that. You know, just because they were friends with those people don't mean that their car was the same as ours.
Right.
So
okay. They're not going to give you everything.
Oh gosh. So okay. So that was just a disaster, you know, and got out of that. And Dennis Shoemaker from Maryland, he owned a '64 car. Always had Cup guys in the car. Mm-hmm. I would call him and say, "Hey, can I drive your car?" "No, you're not a Cup guy." "Okay." Just like that. "Okay, you're not a Cup guy."
The Duraloop car?
Yeah.
Okay.
Before that, he always had a good car. Mm-hmm. And I never seen a good driver in the car, even though they were Cup guys. You know, come on, I could outdrive that guy. Come on. You know, well, now I got a half a year under my belt with Bill Davis. Get canned. He calls me up. "Hey, you want to drive my car?" Yeah, I will, because he always had a good car. Yeah. So I was like, okay. And to this day, Brian Schaefer, he works for Junior on his late model program. One of the best guys I have ever met. He was a Northeast PA guy. Came here with Tom Peck. And smart kid, hard worker, always had good cars. You know, that was fun. That '64 car was fun. We run good, never won a race for him.
Right.
But damn, I think we got a pole at Richmond, and, you know, I mean, we're always right there. But, we always had Keystone Cops as a pit crew. You know, we never had a okay. This is gonna be interesting. You know,
it's those years too of the Busch series, now Xfinity series, were so cool because you had a bunch of different teams and team owners and guys that were moving and shifting around. I mean, you don't see kind of like the camaraderie like you did too, because when I remember when I started doing the K&N races, talking to some of those old Cup and Busch Series crew chiefs that came over to K&N, they would walk around. They were like, "This is what the Busch Series used to be."
Yeah, because it was a short track, not a mile and a half speedway.
Yeah,
because it was 40 car owners. Mm-hmm. When the Cup guys got in, that means technology.
You bring the corporate side of it in. You bring the technology,
and that and then. The Cup
business
owners
side, which
they're like, "Hey guys, we don't want to go to South Boston no more because, we're only racing for $20,000 to win. We can't do that no more. We need to go to a mile and a half, or we're racing for $60,000 to win, because we're there anyways. It saves us money." So the Cup guys kind of, they not only did they bring technology in, because there was no technology up until 2000 maybe. You know
really?
What I mean? Yeah. I mean, not as much as
the Aero and all that stuff wasn't.
We didn't know because not many guys went to the wind tunnel.
Yeah, sure.
Not many guys did. Okay, Cup guys did. Busch guys didn't. Very seldom. Mm-hmm. Okay. I mean, I think we might have blown 2 of our race cars in a wind tunnel. Mm-hmm. You just didn't go. So you don't know what you don't know. Mm-hmm. And once those Cup guys come in, they know a lot more than us. And so it skyrocketed the cost. Right. You get away from the short tracks because they can't afford it no more. Mm-hmm. So that makes it tough. I mean, you have to. That K&N series back in the day was cool.
Oh man,
yeah, it was.
We had so much fun.
Yeah.
That's why I'm wearing the shirt.
Yeah, that's it.
Paying homage to Corey's '07 car. I remember
they gave me heck because of that stripe. I said, when you watch the race car, it has a stripe on it. Mm-hmm. I said, let's do the shirt and put all the sponsors on it. That'd help you.
Well, what I also thought was interesting too is that we're talking with you and Corey, like you had the stripe on the car too, because it also helped you kind of judge the attitude of the car too. When
I could see how much yawed out it was.
Those were so fun. You know what I loved about those seasons in K&N is that you and Corey were. It was basically, and everyone who worked on the car. It was basically like the movie Six Pack had come to life, because it was a bunch of kids working in a seat shop. It was just. I remember it was Steve-O, Flores, Casey was busting his ass on the car.
Whatever.
It was kids.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It was a bunch of freaking kids.
Yes.
Here
we parked next to
Michael
Tractor
Waltrip,
Trailer,
Michael Waltrip Racing, Gibbs, and all these guys.
Yes,
loved it.
And we take the trophy home. That was cool.
Tractor trailer, fifth wheel, tractor trailer. That was great. That was the funniest stuff, because it was like, here these guys are just operating on maybe 1/10 of the budget that you guys, that you
kicked
had.
their ass. I mean, that was fun. That was.
Those were some fun years.
Yes,
The win at Iowa, it was cool.
Oh,
the first one at Bowman Gray.
Yeah. Then he destroyed your car going through the grass.
Pissed at him.
He didn't have a scratch on the car until he done a donut in the
He
infield.
wins the race, and you were so pissed at him.
What happened to the nose? Yeah.
It was cool to be there for, it was really cool to be there for those years, because I was there for Corey's first win.
He won the championship that year, and they took it from him. He
should have. I know. Yeah. I was there at the last race at Rockingham too
and Mike, Doug Yates, Robert Yates was still alive, did the engines. We got thrown out for a carburetor issue.
Right.
I bought the carburetor on the motor from Team Dillon Racing 2 years earlier. It'd been to the tech 5 times. Mm-hmm. It's the same carburetor, same motor I run. I had a brand new one from NASCAR Tech, from Yates. And those are the 2 guys that did the motors. And I was like, why did we get thrown out? Wait a second. So, okay, this metering block had a hole in it. I didn't put it there. I ain't got a drill that small. I was like, it's been there for 2 years. Mm-hmm. I don't know. Okay, well, they throw us out. Not supposed to be there. It's not a stock hole. Okay, why didn't you see it the 5 times previous?
Right.
Because it's the same carburetor you've checked 3 times this year, 2 times last year. Mm-hmm. We don't know. That's not it. It's okay. I got 2 carburetors, one there and one there.
Couldn't you have lobbied to them and said, listen, we'll come back through tech, we'll put a different carburetor on it?
No, this is after the race. This is already after the race. This is after he won the race at Greenville.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
So
that's right. He and Brett Moffitt got together.
Correct.
Oh my God, they waged wars on.
Yes,
the
track.
They did. That night,
it cost me a race car at PA.
I remember I interviewed him at Greenville. He was like, we went down in the Word, and he tried to send me into Spartanburg. He said, that's a great line. Oh God, that was funny.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So 3 months after the deal's done, Robert Yates calls me because Randy says, I got a carburetor out of the box. Same hole in the metering block. I was like, huh? It was brand new. It's like, you're kidding me. He says, no. Okay. We're going to Chicago for a ARCA race. And we go there, and they gave James Hilton an award. Mike Helton did, and I haven't talked to Mike since Corey got thrown out the end of the year before. And it wasn't a pleasant conversation.
With Mike Helton?
Yeah, at the SEMA show. So as he's walking out, he looks and he gives me a little head nod. You got a second, Mike? He goes, you going to continue to yell at me? I says, well, I'm going to try not to. I says, you around next week? What do you need? I was like, Robert Yates wants to show me something, and I think you should see it. Bring it to the shop on Tuesday. Okay. So I call Robert up. And then Robert and Mike Helton are my motorcycle buddies, and they camp out and all that stuff together. So we go in there. Robert shows up, got a brand new Holly box. We go in. They have our carburetor sitting there. That's illegal. That got Corey DQ'd, got Corey not a champion.
Right.
So all the parts are there. So Mike Helton, a head NASCAR engine guy, Robert Yates, and me. Opens the box, takes it out, shows the guy the metering block. Guy looks at Mike. Mike looks at it. Mike says, it's not going to change anything.
Well, I mean, yeah, it's 3 months later, right?
Yeah. And I was like, my kid's a champion. Right here. My kid's a champion. Yeah, he'll get another shot.
And that was a a championship battle too.
No, he won. He won the championship.
That Rockingham
Yes.
race, it was him, Moffitt, Larson, and
Reddick.
Bubba.
Going for the championship.
Right, but
yes.
Reddick was the wild card in it because he was the one that ran down and
won it. That's right. Moffitt wrecked himself on Reddick.
On the last lap or something like that. And I remember that was a huge championship drama, and the way it all unfolded was crazy.
Oh.
So, and then Larson walked away with the championship at the end of the day, but 4 guys went into that mathematically with a shot at the title.
You weren't kidding. Yep.
Wow, I can kind of tell it still pisses you off to this day, doesn't it?
Because I mean, at the end of the day, who knows where Corey would be today?
Yeah,
you know. I mean, at the end of the day, he was a champion,
right?
And he didn't get acknowledged that.
You know, I always had said that I put Corey's talent up there with the best that is out there, because I watched he and Larson at New Hampshire. Remember at New Hampshire, they were side by side for how many laps, going after the lead and never touched each other. I mean, right there was like an incredible display of talent by 2 guys who were essentially both in underfunded teams.
Correct.
Because Rev doesn't have the huge budget that Gibbs or the Cup series, but they do great. Don't get me wrong.
Right. Yeah.
But you guys with your small budget, and that was one of the best races I ever saw with Corey.
I mean, I thought one of the reasons I don't think some of those guys want them in the Cup series because they're gonna get their ass kicked. You know, I mean, him and Joey are good buddies. They've been good buddies since they were like 12 years old. Well, Joey told Corey, he says, if you started outrunning me, I'm not sure I could be friends with you.
It's all right.
That's right.
Hey, you don't go to the track to make friends.
Correct.
You bring them with
I mean,
you.
but really? Come on. You know, the kids hang out together. Why? Really? Just because I outrun you, you're not going to talk to me? I could see I didn't get outrun much by my friends. You know, but when they did, they did. Who cares?
Yeah, run me. I want to learn from you.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what
That's what we do here. You're always going to lose more than you win.
Yeah, a lot.
Yeah.
But those years in K&N were fun. We got to have Corey on here sometime to talk about those years, man.
He can say he's a busy kid. I'll tell you that.
I know.
I know his
podcasts
weeks
and the Cup Series,
radio stuff he does. I mean, it's crazy.
Big time race car driver.
Well, yeah, correct.
I get it.
That's right. And he's a dad of 2, so I know when he has the
that's
day
right.
off.
You're a grandfather for the second time now.
Yeah, I just got the little one laughing and looking at me a little strangely Sunday. I had him for about an hour Sunday, and I said, okay.
How old's the little one now?
7 weeks.
Oh, so
7 or 8 weeks.
Brand new.
Oh, yeah, brand new.
So brand new. Gotcha.
Oh, yeah. So I just got him because he hasn't been but now I got him to smile. I got him to giggle.
Well, of course.
Yes. Yeah. So I was like, okay, this is good. You know, so, and the other one, you know, Corey was doing a TV deal, and I happened to be outside, and I come in, Corey was standing there, and Levi was on the other side of the room. And I come in, I was talking to Corey, and they're like, there he is. And he come running over with his hands up and jumped right in my arms, and Corey's sitting there like, what happened?
Yeah, I'm chopping
I said, that's right. I said, hell yeah.
That's cool. Yep. Well, you know, you guys could always. One thing that I definitely knew about you guys, you could always have fun at the track. You always had good times.
Well, we had when you shut the tailgate. The purpose was when you opened it, have fun, but win a race. I mean, that's what we're there for.
Right.
You know, I mean, that was something that my dad taught me. Don't go there just to run. You know, I mean, if you're being outrun, find out why. Go look at their car. What does that car have that yours don't have? You know, is it the height of? I mean, he was crazy back in the day. He would come over and say, hey, that guy up front, his spoiler's this high, yours is this high. Okay, that guy's gonna have more downforce than me. You know, or Speedway. Hey, his is a quarter-inch lower than yours, because mine was on top of my belt, and his was in the middle of my belt.
God.
But he would take it if somebody was under his car. I would laugh. If somebody would climb under his car, he'll pull him out and he said, "Do I look under your wife's dress?"
Wow.
But then again, he's the first one to climb into somebody else's car.
But he never went any higher than modified racing, right? He never did any full body racing. Or
He did for Bob Johnson. They did that.
Okay.
They did that Speedway modified stuff.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
79 and 80
and then Race Hill
Daytona?
Farms before Bouchard, after Harry Gant. Harry Gant was first.
Yeah.
And Bob called my dad to put him in the 47 Race Hill Farms Cup car.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
And my dad says, I don't know what year that was. But he says, I had kids, I have a business, I'm racing Saturday nights. He said,
it's a big risk.
Correct. So he's like, okay. He's like, he didn't do it. So, yeah, he had a shot, you know. Could he have done it? Yeah, absolutely. I mean, my dad was, up until Corey, my dad was the best I've watched. Yeah. You know, I mean, he was good.
Yeah,
it was crazy to. I mean, I didn't quite understand how you could win a race on Saturday night, and on Monday morning have the guys totally strip the car and change the suspension on it and try something different.
Really?
Always.
I never got a chance to see your dad race, but I would have liked to. Fast forward though now to your Busch Series stuff, Xfinity Series. Now, you drove for. Frank Cece. After that, it was Moroso.
Yep.
When did Baumgartner come calling?
I called him.
Was it 96 and 97 were like your breakout?
Yep.
95 and 96 or 96 and 97? She got 5 wins back to back.
Got shit canned in 95.
96 and 97.
97, back to back.
That was it.
So the end of 95 when I got shit canned, first phone call was to Bill Baumgartner.
Why'd you get fired?
From Bill Davis? I don't know.
Oh, the cup car, the cup deal.
Yeah, so my first call was to my lawyer. Second call was to Bill Baumgartner. Something happened to Johnny, had an ASA deal or something. Mm-hmm. So I jumped in the car, qualified 6th, got to 2nd, got spun out, came back up, run 3rd. Okay. After the race, he was so excited. He said, hey, if you ever need a job, call me. And this was 94 maybe. You know, so I said, okay. So I said, okay, I'm going to need a job. So I called him. I said, Bill, Lajoie, how are you? It's good. I said, I need a job. He says, I don't have one. He goes, not till next year. Johnny's leaving. He says, and Lipton Tea's gone. I said, okay, let me make a phone call. I says, I got a job? He says, yeah, I'll hire you. So I called the president of FINA.
But you had a year to wait, though, right?
Yes. Well, half a year.
Okay.
Because they were going for the championship. So he said, I said, okay. I said, good. I said, let me see what I can do, see where I can find a sponsor. He said, okay. So I called FINA, the president of the company, Ron Hydak. I said, hey, Mr. Ron, how are you? Hey, Randy, how you doing? So I'm talking to him. I said, hey, what are you guys doing next year? He goes, got a meeting tomorrow, matter of fact. He says, I think we're pulling the plug. I said, don't. I said, don't do that. I said, I asked you last year. I told you it was going to be tough. I says, I have an opportunity. The car that's leading the championship points is losing the driver and the sponsor. I says, we could plug right in there. Well, he said, let me see at this meeting tomorrow. So what's going on? So I called every vendor I knew. I mean, I met probably 15 vendors through the couple of years earlier that when I was with FINA with Moroso. I called all of them up. I said, hey, you guys going to this meeting? Oh, yeah. He says, half of them said, we're pulling the plug. I said, here's what we can do. And they're like, we can do that. Yeah, we want to do that. Well, they called me the next day and says, we're in. So I called Baumgartner. I says, we got a sponsor for next year.
Good.
Yeah,
that's
so
awesome.
That was a great 4-year relationship.
Now we're talking 1996, 1997. What was a 1-year sponsorship worth back then? How many million?
First time was $1.8 million
for one season.
Yep. Then it went to 2.2.
Which covers nothing now.
Well, yeah, probably not.
Right.
No, yeah, correct. I think the most they ever give was 3.5.
Wow.
Yeah.
No kidding. It's just amazing just to hear like the budgets then compared to what you guys are doing
absolutely.
now. And
yes.
So some great years with Bill Baumgartner.
Great. I mean, the left hand knew what the right hand was doing. I mean, that was fun because the crew guys have been together. We had great pit stops. You know, I mean, Billy Nazareth was the glue. I mean, he was probably one of the sharpest minds in this sport when he started with Richie, and we had a great relationship.
You and Billy?
Yeah.
I mean, it must have been just so cool knowing, his reputation that you're going to...
Smart. I mean, he could watch a car, It was like good guys can watch cars. Bob Johnson always watched his car. Mm-hmm. He would tell you what you saw.
Right.
And it helped you. I mean, I think I helped Corey a lot of times. This is what I see. I see the stripe. We're too free here. We're heading in the wrong direction here. Get that to work, and you'll be a lot better.
Was Billy your crew chief for both championships?
No, he was a car chief. Birdie was a crew chief. Birdie was a crew chief, team manager.
Okay.
And they worked well together. Mm-hmm. But after 2 years of winning a championship back to back, I was like, man, I think we can win 3 or 4 of these things. But then Junior came in with a really good race team.
Right.
Matt Kenseth came in with a really good race team. Mm-hmm. So
the competition level goes up.
Way up. Right. And, the information. We didn't have the tools in our toolbox that Junior Motorsports had or DEI had. Or
was it just going to take money to get that?
That's all it was.
That's all it was.
That's all. And technology.
Okay.
That's when the technology started coming, which, if I had it, I would have given it to Corey. So you can't try to belittle Senior, because he gave Junior everything he needed.
Right.
That's what your parents do.
Right. You want to help your kids succeed.
But his stuff was way better than a lot of people's stuff.
Yeah,
just because of the knowledge, that Senior had and how he worked, with the Cup guys. And for information, their cars might have went to the wind tunnel a few more times than ours. Mm-hmm. So, oh well. I mean, if you don't keep up, you're going to run third.
Do you think that those years was the height of your career, or was it because you had also you had won 3 Daytona races too?
97, 99, and 01.
And all 3 for 3 different car owners.
Correct.
Too. So was so from 96 to 01, was you consider that like the peak
it's fun.
years?
Yeah, it was fun.
It was.
Life was good.
It's so funny too, because I was in victory lane for your last Busch win at Memphis.
Okay.
I was just getting into the sport in the media. I was pit spotting for Ralph Shaheen, who was pit reporting the race. It was on TNT. And I remember Dave Barringer was the producer, and it was my job to be on pit road. And there was something that went on with
Sauter and Green. They took each other out.
Because one of Green's crew guys, because we went over there with Ralph and the camera guys and everything to go interview, and they didn't want to talk to us, and they got thrown out. And I remember one of Sauter's crew guys actually put their hands on me and,
get the hell out.
He shoved me out of the pit area, and the camera guy and one of the officials was standing there, and they were like, no, you don't
do that.
Don't do that.
Right. Yeah, correct.
That's media. Yeah. But he actually he just got behind me and just shoved
Welcome to NASCAR.
Shoved me right out of the pit box. Yeah. Well, exactly. Welcome to NASCAR, Yankee. But I remember being there, and it had rained.
Oh yeah, I got stuck in the mud. yeah, doing a donut, got stuck. I thought, this is good.
Now that was what was the car owner's name of that?
Ed Evans.
Ed Evans. But it
still owes me a $300,000. I won a lawsuit against him.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
Now, I thought that car came out of the Nimco stables.
It was. That was Joe's. That was one of Joe's sugar daddies.
Oh, really?
Yeah. He had that one. Joe had those red and white Cellular One cars. Mm-hmm. That guy was Cellular One.
Oh, all right.
Yeah. And then Joe talked him into owning his own race team because I had Kleenex.
Oh,
yeah.
I got
you. And then, for a year and a half, they tried stealing Kleenex. It was just a terrible deal. Yeah. 3-year deal, and then you get shit canned. That was different. There were some really nice people there. And
at Evans's team?
Evan, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But there was people that run the program had an underlying thing, I don't know, just different. It was different, and I didn't mind getting out of there.
I was just going to ask.
I won a lawsuit, and then I haven't got paid. I was like, how does that happen? If I lost a lawsuit, I'm sure I would have to write a check.
Right. You still haven't figured out why you haven't gotten paid or anything like that?
Well, because when people with money know how to hide it.
Yeah. That's...
Okay. So he put it over. All he just disbanded Evans Motorsports. They don't have nothing. Well, yeah, they did, but his partner Nemco kind of acquired everything.
Oh.
So it was kind of shady deal. So I still ain't got paid. I was like, thanks, guys.
At what point? At what point in your career did you say, "All right, I've had enough"?
Well, 06. I had a guy in Arkansas say, "Hey, I got a car, Michael Waltrip car, one of their best cars. You know, not that he ever won in it, but one of their best cars, and they always had decent cars." He goes, "You want to run 10 times?" I said, "Yeah, I'll do that." Well, it just so happens, Harvick said, "Hey, Lajoie, I need you to. You want to?" Delana, his wife, was my PR girl for 3 years, so he said, "Hey, 9 times next year, I cannot practice and qualify the Coast Guard car because they have it in it different from the Cup." And he was doing
Harvick
both.
was driving the Coast Guard car?
Yeah, 21, last championship.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, the 21 car for Childress.
Yep.
Okay.
So he goes, "I need you to practice and qualify for me." I said, "Damn, I would love to." I said, "I'm not sure I fit." He goes, "Lose weight." I said, "Easy for you to say." So I went up there and sat in it. And it was sad because I fit.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I was glad. Nobody's, okay. The ribs a little tight. It ain't bad. I could do that. Okay. Well, my shoulders ain't even close. Okay. I got to make some padding to hold my shoulders in. Okay. Belts ain't even close. Okay. So I had to make a new left side lap belt. So because adjuster was on the right, so I had to make it. The only thing I had to change was the left side lap belt and add shoulder padding to the shoulders. And I was like, okay, I can do this. So I was in the best shape of my life, though, too. I mean, instead of 240, I was 195. You know, he was probably 165. So it wasn't bad to shrink in his seat.
This was what, 06?
06.
Yeah, 06 was your last season, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. So first race we're going to, I might have been Kentucky. Okay, I'm listening on the airplane, the engineer and the crew chief are talking, and they're like, well, we're going to have this much shock travel here and there. I was like, Kentucky? You know the shock travel? You run 200 mile an hour and it's bumpy as hell. He said, oh, yeah, we will. I was like, no. What do you mean? I said, there ain't no way. I said, I'll give you 1/4 of an inch. I said, buy me dinner. He said, you want to bet dinner? I said, yeah. They said, we'll go to 1/8 of an inch. That they gave me a list. They said, after the first practice, that's going to be on the sheet. I was like, ain't no way. He says, oh, with all the simulation and the shakedowns.
Well, this is when they all started doing the coil binding and all
so
that. The small spring, big bar,
whatever
stuff.
it was. Right, and I was like, there ain't no way. Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, it's okay. Strap in, go out. He said, run about 15 laps. Okay, so I go out there and I bust off 15 laps. A little tight. It's pretty tight. I look on the board. Hell, we're second on the board. I was like, okay. I said, okay, this is good. So we get a tire temp. He said, meet you a tire temp, get a shut off. So I coast in, get a shut off. I said, man. So I look at a tire sheet, and readjust the camera would help the tightness. I was like, we're a little tight. They said, okay. They roll us in, open the hood, take the shock measurements. I said, we done? They say, yeah, we're done. I said, okay. So I get out, and they take the shock measurement, they put it up on the board within 1/8 inch. And I was like, really? The car was perfect. Once they fixed the front tires, I was like, okay. So that race, I think we never qualified out of the top 5, never practiced out of the top 3. Mm-hmm. Out of the 9 races, he won 6 of them, run second in 2 of them, and the last one was going for the lead and he got crashed. Yeah. So they paid me. I went up to see Richard. I said, Richard, he gave me a check. He said, hey, thanks, Randy. He won the championship. He goes, thanks. He says, you helped. The guys loved you. I said, okay, great. I said, Richard, please. I said, give me 5 races next year. He goes, why? I said, I need something to do. I said, you want to win 5 races? Give me 5 races. He goes, didn't you win? I said, come on, it's a 21 car. I said, the only one that hasn't won is your son-in-law. And he started laughing. He goes, you got a point there. I said, you give me 5 races, I'll win you 5 races.
Yeah.
He says, Randy, I can't sell a 30-year-old. And here I am, 45. Wow. And I was like, okay. So that was 9 races I did with them. Never was out of the top 3. set him up perfect, got the cars happy. He won a bunch of races. 10 races, I'm in this guy's car from Arkansas, Champions Provisional, to get in the race. Swatting flies in the car to run 30.
This was a Janet King car, right?
No, that was Amondo's.
Okay.
Yeah. This was I don't know, guy out of Arkansas.
Okay.
Berry Hill, old man Berry Hill.
Okay.
Yeah.
Adrian Berry.
There you
right?
go, Adrian. Yep. So he showed me pictures. He says, "Randy, you're laying down on me. You're half second off." I said, "I wish I was." I said, "I'm just, somebody comes in with a picture." This is when guys start taking pictures of the car in the middle of the corner. Everybody else's car sealed off. Hell, ours was 4 inches off the ground. And I says, "Adrian, right here, look. Well, how do we fix it?" "I don't know. I'm not that guy. I'm the wheel holder."
Right.
So I was like, if you get that closer, we should be faster. And so the end of that year, I was like, okay, guys wanted me to do starting parks. So you can make a couple $100,000. I was like, but it was fun going to the racetrack, knowing you were your car to beat.
Right.
When you're not a car to beat no more, I didn't like going to the racetrack.
Yeah, it's just, what are you going there for? To just hold the steering wheel.
Yeah, or to make money. Okay, you know what? I mean, I've never been, Casey, my youngest, was probably 9. He was 7. Here's a story. We're sitting there Sunday afternoons, just got out of the pool, having a great day. We already were at the shop. We might have go-kart race, might have went on a four-wheeler ride, whatever. So we're sitting there watching the race, and I said, "Hey, guys," I said, Jim Smith, the 7 car. Michael's heading to DEI. I said, "Guys, I could race that car next year." "Oh, yeah." Corey's like, "Hey, I know those guys. Those guys are fun. Those guys are good. We'll be able to do this on Sunday." I said, no. I said, well, Sundays are over. I said, I'll be there.
You got to work.
Yeah. So Casey, he was 7. And he said, "Why do you want to do it?" I said, "Wow." I said, I can make a lot of money. The guy offered me 10 times what I was making. And I was like, "I can make a lot of money." He says, "Well, don't you make a lot of money now?" I said, "I guess, yeah." He goes, "Why do you need more?" And he was 7. So I looked at the wife. I was like, "Why do you need more?" I said, he's got it figured out,
Yeah.
But okay, so that's what I kind of live by.
The logic of a child is amazing sometimes.
Yes, and then I was like, okay, that's why Corey only ran 10 races a year instead of 50 races a year. I didn't have it.
Right.
I had enough for 10 races. Everybody else was racing 50 times. But hey, those 10, we won half of them, so that was good.
Do you think you could still get in a car and run the top 5 today?
No, not even close. A 45-year-old ain't going to do what a 25-year-old's going to do.
You know what, though? But you
not
see a lot of these,
for 200 miles.
You see a lot of these guys, though, in their 40s starting to really hit their peaks, though.
These guys are really good. Harvick's really good.
Right.
Yeah. But he's having a rough couple of years here.
Yeah.
He's not adapting to this new car. Mm-hmm. Truex hasn't won a race yet. These are the 2 senior guys.
Do you have any desire anymore to just go out and bust any more laps?
No, I would hurt
fun?
myself. I'm done. I'm not climbing in windows no more. Mainly because my head is not. I don't know what the new norm is. Because life is different.
Yeah.
You get old and you're like, holy shit. Where did I put that?
Yeah. You see more gray coming in here.
Well, you color yours. Yeah.
No,
I
not
tried,
anymore. Not anymore. No, I
TV.
just let it go. Yeah. I'm just a washed up pit reporter now.
Yeah, well, hey, that's right. Old has-been race car driver. Yeah.
Oh man. Well, listen, we're getting near the end of the show, but we definitely want to thank you for coming on. We hope you had a great time today, and there are so many stories that you have. Like we tell everyone, you've got to be able to come back. We've already.
Well, here's a NASCAR story.
Yeah, our thing here is we want to hear stories, so let's hear a great story.
Okay, NASCAR story, champion weekend story. Go down to Atlanta Friday night, first championship. Monday night, get the championship ring, championship stuff down in Miami, or Sunday, whatever it was, Sunday, Monday. So okay, Friday go to Atlanta because the Cup cars are still racing. Good party Saturday night with all the NASCAR touring champions. Pictures Monday morning. Following year, same thing. Go there second year. Now, I'm sporting my NASCAR champion jacket, all leather, beautiful. Just got it Monday night. Got my second ring. Monday night. My wife gets a pendant, on the stage on Monday. Friday, go back, check into the hotel, couple appearances to the bar, big time. Not feeling as good Saturday morning. We have a breakfast at the racetrack. So get to the racetrack, do our breakfast, do what I had to do. Okay, I'm going back to the hotel taking a nap. I got a 4 o'clock. Okay, so I'm going back to the hotel. I'm walking into the hotel. Coming on the other side, another direction, is Bill France with 2-3 guys with him. Now, the same guy just gave me my ring on Monday night. Now, it's Saturday noontime. So I'm proud as peacock. I'm not feeling that good. I'm going to take a nap, so I'm going to open the door. I'm opening the door. I got my chest out. I got my new ring on. Hey, Bill, how you doing? He looked at me. He said, I'm doing great. You're a race fan? You here for the weekend? And he just kept walking. And I was like, guys with him just kind of look at me like, oh, well. And once I could breathe, because it felt like I got kicked in the guyuns, I got him out of my throat. I was like, did he not even know who I was? I mean, I look at my ring, I look at my jacket. It's like, I'm a nobody.
Yeah.
I'm a nobody. So I was mad, to say the least. I was mad. Took a nap, did all my appearances, go back to the bar, asked the bartender, I said, hey, I charge this to my room, right? He said, yeah. I said, okay. I said, somebody said Lajoie. I'm buying. He said, okay. End of the night, I walk over to him. I said, how'd we do? And it was like a $3,000 bar tab. He goes, okay. I said, here, no problem. So I charged it to my room. Total was $74. I said, they might not know who I am, but they're going to know I was thirsty. And I signed my name. Every bartender gave me a hug. Made plenty of race fans that night because I bought $3,000 worth of liquor and tipped them.
On their dime?
Oh, and never heard nothing.
Okay.
Still. I just wanted my day in court. It was like, how can you not recognize me? Monday night, you gave me my ring. You just told me it was the second largest whatever. Then the following year, Junior wins and he takes him on a boat. I was like, great. And Chevy gives Junior a Corvette. And I was like, he won one, I won two, and they give him a Corvette. His daddy got a dealership. What the heck?
That's the way the game goes.
Yeah, that's right.
I tell you.
That's right.
Oh, believe me, there's a lot of times where, and it happens at every level, even in the media end of it too, where you're trying for spots and you're hoping to get a gig and you don't get a gig.
No,
so,
yeah, correct.
I get it. I'm at the point now where, it's getting frustrating in my career, but we do have to wrap it up soon.
Come on, let's go.
We had a lot of fun.
Yep.
It went by quick. Thank you. We
right.
appreciate you coming on the show. There were so many stories that you had. Would you come back and do it again?
If I get a chance, absolutely.
Okay, we got to bring you and Corey on actually together because you guys can go back and forth and we can swap old K&N stories and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Do you still have any of the old cars or
no,
you got rid of them all?
No. That one car, Billy Hess just passed away. That one car, they called it Catfish.
Yeah, I remember that was the big one.
That was it. Yeah, that thing still won. Austin Hill won a couple races in that car.
I know, at Dover.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. We also run a road course. That thing was built. Me and Billy, I talked to Billy. I said, Billy, I'm going to lower the CG on this car. He said, okay. He says, within the rules? I said, absolutely. and he did a nice job. We built the car that I wanted, and it had a low CG, and that thing run. Boy, that thing run. That thing hooked the bottom. That was a good car.
I remember. I won a bunch of races. Right. 5 wins that year with an underfunded team.
Yes.
It was so cool.
Yeah, that was great.
Well, Randy, thank you. We appreciate you coming in. We can't wait to have you back on. Randy Lajoie joins us on the Derek Pernesiglio Show, and what a great show it's been. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you the next time. Bye.